One of my earliest memories is watching my mother make blown egg ornaments for our Christmas tree. I still have some of those to this day, and they're some of my most prized possessions. I decided to try and resurrect some of my mother's creativity by making these egg ornaments myself and figuring out the process. It's not nearly as difficult as I thought it might be, and I can walk you through step by step. For this project, you'll need an egg, a thumbtack, tape, embroidery scissors, tissue paper, Mod Podge, acrylic paint and a paintbrush, craft glue, a cotton ball, some minis, such as this angel made out of polymer clay, some trim, glitter, some small beads, a needle, and some clear string or fishing line. The first step is to hollow out your egg. Start by putting a piece of tape on each end of the egg. Then use a thumbtack to poke a small hole in the top of the egg, in the pointier end of the egg, and then make a larger hole in the bottom of the egg so that the egg yolk can come out. To make a larger hole, just keep poking in the thumbtack at the edges of the hole. Be patient and don't try to widen it too much at one time. The tape keeps the egg from cracking while you're doing this process, but you still need to be careful. Remove the tape from the holes. Use a long skinny object to break up the egg inside the shell. Rinse the egg really well, and I didn't film this part, but what you're going to do is blow into the small hole on the top and the egg will come out of the bottom of the egg. You can put a bowl underneath it to catch it if you want to use the egg for something. When all the egg yolk is out, rinse your egg thoroughly with water and let it dry. You want to cover up the bigger hole on the bottom of the egg, so you can paint some Mod Podge all around the hole and then use a small square of tissue paper and stick that on to cover the hole. I use 2 or 3 layers to make it strong. You don't need to cover the smaller hole because we're going to use that to string the cord through to hang the ornament. To cut the opening in the egg, start with your thumbtack again and make a small hole so that you can fit the tip of your small scissors through. These are called embroidery scissors, but any small sharp scissors will do. I'm going to cut a big oval in the front of my egg, but I'm going to start smaller than I want the finished hole to be so that I can carefully cut in layers. Take your time and be patient with this. The egg is delicate. If it cracks just a little bit, it'll be okay. Continue trimming around the opening you've made until it's the size that you want it to be. If you end up with any small cracks, you can use Mod Podge and tissue paper to cover them so that they won't get any worse. Paint the inside of your egg with acrylic paint and then paint the outside. For the inside, you want to do several coats to make sure there's full coverage. For the outside, if you're going to be putting glitter on at the end, and especially if you're painting it white, 1 coat is probably sufficient. Once the paint is dry, stuff a little bit of tissue down into the egg so that you have a flat surface to place your mini and so that it will be far enough up in the egg that you can see it. Put some craft glue into the bottom of the egg to hold the tissue in place. I want my angel to look like she's standing on a cloud, so I'm going to rip a piece about 1/3 of a cotton ball and flatten it out a little bit. And I'm going to test how much needs to go in there. Remove it and place some glue on top of the tissue paper and stick in my cotton. Add some glue, a generous amount, to the bottom of your mini and glue your mini in place. Let the mini dry, and then we're going to add trim to the edge of the egg. So put a generous amount of craft glue all around the edge. And then stick on your trim all the way around. Cut the trim to size and then add extra glue where it meets, just so nothing unravels and keeping everything in place. Thread some clear string or fishing wire onto your needle. Double it and make it about 8 or 9 inches long. Thread a small bead on and tie it at the end to hold it in place. This will go inside the egg and just stop the thread from going through the hole, so it doesn't have to be very neat. Put a little dab of glue on the knot so it doesn't come undone, and then trim the ends close to the bead. Send the needle inside the egg and up through the original hole. This step is actually out of order. You should do this before you glue in the mini. In this case it worked out, but if you have taller minis it might be hard to get the needle in there without disturbing everything. So do this part first. Now thread on a few more beads just for decorative purposes. I've got a larger one and a smaller one here that I'm going to use. Cut the string close to the needle and then tie the two ends together. You can also tie a knot at the top of the beads to keep them in place. The last step is to cover the outside of the egg in glitter. My mom used to use glitter that was actually made from glass that they don't make anymore, but I've got this transparent plastic glitter that will look almost as good. So just do a thin coat of Mod Podge on the outside of the egg and dump on the glitter. Do this in parts, maybe about a third of the egg at a time. You can save the glitter on some wax paper and put it back in the bottle when you're done. Once the whole egg is coated in glitter, tap off the extra and find somewhere to hang it until it's completely dry. Once it's dry, you're finished. Please subscribe to my channel. There's new videos every week, so you don't want to miss one.